Welcome to my channel. Today I have a foundation review video for you. As you can see, I have a lot of foundation. I am a foundation junkie and I love foundation. So today I'm going to pick out one for you and review it. If you want me to review any of these foundations that you see here, leave a comment below and I will review it for you. For now, let's start this video. The foundation that I will be reviewing for you today is the Tarte Maracuja 12-Hour Miracle Foundation with SPF 15. It looks like this foundation comes in about 10 shades. There are some brown girl friendly shades, not many, but some. It's acceptable. Packaging wise, I really like the packaging. It looks like expensive high-end packaging. It looks really good. I got the shade Deep M2. This foundation retails for about $12 to $44 depending on where you buy it. I bought mine on eBay because, you know, you girls cheap. So mine cost $12 on eBay. So I have a few things to say about the foundation so far. I'm going to leave it on for the day and see how it performs after several hours. But I do notice that layering it, so the areas where I layered it, like on this cheek here and under the eye area, that less is more of this foundation, so it performs better with less. You don't need as much of it, because where I layered it, it looks slightly oily, versus where I didn't put as much, it looks much smoother and there's no oiliness. It's just looks more like skin. And also I noticed under the eye areas here there's streaking, so I'm gonna actually zoom you in. Okay, so I zoomed in really close so you can see. So as you can see, the eye area here, underneath the eyes, you can see the lines under my eyes here. It's pretty noticeable. It did cover my dark circles a bit, but I still need concealer with this foundation for the under eye area. But there's streaking under the eyes, but there's also like patchiness. So especially here closest to the line, the waterline, it just looks kind of sparse. So there's areas where it looks like where it's more even than others. So when I smile, you can kind of see it shows the line. So this foundation doesn't do particularly well under the eye area. So if you use this foundation, I definitely recommend using concealer under the eyes and focusing on using the foundation on the rest of the face and not so much near the eyes. But it might perform a lot better though with concealer on first. So even though if you do put it under your eyes with concealer there first, it might perform better. It's crinkling. Look at that. So it just makes you look a little older under the eye areas. So I would avoid it there or apply concealer first and use less of it. But regardless, so far I feel like less is better. Also, near the nose area, I'm noticing a bit of crinkling. Or is it crinkling is the right word? patchiness. I think patchiness is more correct. And it just seems really patchy, and it seems to be accentuating the little dry areas near the nose. I also feel like this foundation is a bit porous on me because I feel like I can see my pores. So for me, on my skin, this foundation is streaky and patchy, and it does, I think, mostly streaky and patchy. It seems to be not oily though if I use less of it. So what I'm going to do is on this side of my face, right here, I'm going to remove some of the foundation just by blending it a bit more, just to remove some of it with my fingers and see how it performs compared to the other side and see if it's better. Because it might become just streaky and patchy when you layer it. So I'm going to change that a little bit, but I'm going to still leave it for a couple of hours. So right now it is 7 p.m. right now, so I'm going to leave it until about maybe midnight or 11 o'clock or something like that. And I will come back on camera and tell you how it works for me throughout the day. So I'll see you in a few hours. Alright everyone, so I'm back. It has been several hours. It's now well after midnight, so it's been about 5 hours and a half. So I do have a few things I want to say about the foundation. Everything I noticed earlier, I'm still noticing for the most part. I would say yes, there's under my eyes, there's definitely creasing, so you can see it. There's creasing under the eyes, and it is showing my lines. And the darkness under my eyes is quite noticeable also, so I think it just kind of wore off the eyes. And it looks streaky, and it's kind of creasing under the eye area. And where I layered kind of looks almost like a mask to me. So it's still shiny, so you can tell the difference. I didn't layer here on this side, but on this side it's shinier. You can see where the light's reflecting more. Yeah, so that's still there. I feel like the foundation has kind of lasted. I feel like it has lasted, so it's just the under eye area it looks really bad under the under eye area. So I think this foundation is not one that I would recommend for someone with like I guess I wouldn't recommend it for someone with like crow's feet or a lot of lines under the eyes. And in fact I would recommend keeping this foundation away from the eye area. So yes, so coverage wise I feel like it is medium coverage, and it does last for several hours. But this is not a foundation that I would recommend wearing just by itself. You definitely need to wear concealer with it. Since you can't layer it, you really do need to use concealer in the areas where you have a little bit more scars or more like something you want to cover. So that's kind of my take on it. I don't feel like this foundation is good for dry skin, I suppose. So I mean, I still look like I'm made up for the most part, except for the eyes. But it still looks okay. It looks alright. So I don't know what to think about it. I don't really like how it turned out. I don't like the creasing and all that, and I didn't like the dry patchiness. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try this out again for a second day, and I'm going to come back on camera with you all. So I'm going to do a moisturizing treatment tonight and see if that helps the foundation. So I'm going to try 2 different methods tomorrow with it. So I guess I will see you all tomorrow. Hopefully it will work out better than it did today, but I think this foundation is definitely not for people with dry skin or who have things like crow's feet or a lot of wrinkles under the eyes. It doesn't complement the eyes, the under eye area. So anyway, I will go to bed, or at least attempt to go to bed now since it's so late, and I will see you all tomorrow. Alright everyone, so this is day 2 of testing out this foundation, so I do have quite a bit to say about the foundation. Firstly, I wanted to mention that I did do a moisturizing treatment as I mentioned last night, and today I also applied a moisturizer prior to applying the foundation, and I did notice different things. Now firstly, I will say the under eye area, the lines, I'm still noticing that under the eye area, so I applied a concealer first, and I made sure to not apply the foundation like too close to the under eye area, but it still didn't quite work. It seems like I'm seeing the foundation settle into the lines as well again, as far as down here. I didn't even know I had lines down here. But yeah, so the foundation does settle into the lines with powder and without powder. So what I did today was I put powder on this side of my face, and I just used the foundation from this side. I didn't use any powder on this side, and I significantly prefer this side without powder, mostly because with the powder side, the powder seems to accentuate the dry patches again. So when I apply powder, I noticed that the foundation stuck and clung to the dry patches still. So like there's a patch here where from 2 days ago my treatment is causing a little bit of peeling, and the moisturizing treatment made it better, but it's still kind of peeling. And also here at my hairline, it's peeling a little bit also. So I see where the foundation clung to those areas, and the powder accentuated it even further. Now at the side without powder, I noticed that it didn't cling to dry patches. So I think this foundation worked better without powder in that respect. Now I did use this foundation to spot conceal, which I was quite impressed with. I had a lot of redness on my nose and it spot concealed very nicely. And I also used significantly less on the foundation today, like maybe a penny size amount, maybe even less than that, on my entire face, and it looks much better today than it did yesterday. I'm really happy with how it looks. Now my overall opinion on this, I have to say I still feel like I can see a little bit of the lines, but I don't feel like it's noticeable like it was yesterday. Like yesterday it was so noticeable, like foundation looked caked into the lines. Now it just kind of looks like my face but better without, like, it's not settling into the lines the way it was yesterday. So it might settle into lines when you use too much of the foundation. So what I feel overall, my overall opinion about the foundation is that I don't feel like it's a bad foundation. I feel like it is a very cost-effective foundation because you need so little of it for your entire face, and you can also use it to spot conceal. So I consider those to be very positive aspects of this foundation. So I would keep it just to spot conceal because it did spot conceal very nicely, and the foundation feels very light on the skin. It doesn't feel like you have a mask, and I don't see that mask appearance that I noticed yesterday. So that might come from too much of the foundation. So this was quite an interesting experiment. So all in all, I would say I don't know if I would purchase this foundation again. I definitely want to use it mostly to spot conceal and for those days where I want a really light makeup where I don't feel like it's heavy. So it is definitely a wearable foundation, but it does take a bit of work to figure out how to wear it best for your skin condition and type. So it is a little bit of work to make it work. A little bit of practice and experimentation with it. All in all though, my overall opinion is I do not recommend the foundation for people with dry skin or older skin, people who have things like crow's feet or a lot of wrinkles, because it doesn't seem to handle lines particularly well. So if you use this foundation, I do recommend that you don't have dry skin. I think for normal skin like mine, I normally have normal skin, so it's not oily and it's not usually dry unless I do something to it, like my exfoliating treatment I did 2 days ago. So I think for normal skin it is fine. However, I do think that if you do use this foundation, I would avoid it around the eye area altogether completely, and I would definitely apply a moisturizer on top. It worked so much better with a moisturizer. So that is what I noticed. All in all, I don't think it's bad. I just think it's a bit of work. And this foundation I feel like is very particular. It will suit certain specific types of skin and certain skin conditions than others. So all in all, that is my take on this foundation. So I hope you all found this video helpful, and I will see you in my next video. I will do a lot more foundation videos. So until next time.